Alright guys, welcome to our new show. I don't have a title for it at this specific moment, but you'll see it in the description down below what the name of this new series is. So, we are actually talking about movies that don't deserve the money that they make, but I actually have, with this specific series that we're talking about right now, the Transformers series, I do have a few that I feel do deserve them, and then a couple that I don't.
Michael Bay, the god of explosion porn, as we all know him.
Absolutely. Baygasms, actually.
Baygasms, if you will.
Yeah.
These four films, just beautifully crafted four films.
And we have 5, 6, and 7 coming soon. 5 comes out next year, so get your tickets pre-ordered.
Right now.
Right now. Yeah, they're coming out.
Isn't King Arthur in that one or something?
Yeah, it has to do with a fantasy sort of realm sort of a thing. If we decide to make a video on Transformers 5, you will be seeing that come at some point probably next year. But right now, we're going to be talking about 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah. And, not to mention... 4, that's 4 right there. 4 is the most annoying film ever for me. And we talk about this all the time. I don't know if you ever saw 4, but that was a film that was shot with 2 different cameras, and they had different aspect ratios. So when we watched it, Matt and I watched it together, you could tell every time it cut from each camera because the aspect ratio would change. And it was the most annoying thing to watch because it would be like widescreen and then like a weird aspect ratio, then a widescreen, then a weird aspect ratio, and it was like, how do you let that slide out of...
But let's go over the numbers here real quick. Now, I'm just going to say this off the top of my head. I might look it up in a little bit. But I believe the first Transformers movie made $700 million roughly. The second movie, Revenge of the Fallen, I believe made $900 million roughly. Dark of the Moon made $1.5 billion. And the fourth movie, and I don't know why this is fighting in my head, either it made $1 billion, $1.1 billion, or $1.3 billion. I don't know why that number is mixed up in my head.
Regardless,
but it did make over $1 billion.
It's somewhere in the neighborhood of like $4 billion, which...
4 billion?
Yeah.
You mean 1.4 billion?
No, I said the collective series is somewhere in the neighborhood of $4 billion.
I don't...
which is insane.
3 billion, maybe?
1.5, 1.3, and then that's 1.5-ish for those two. So about 4 billion, which is ridiculous.
My math sucks. Anyway, so let's go ahead. Let's go down the list. Let's talk about the first movie. Now, this movie came out in 2007, and this movie actually had some really cool marketing. The very first teaser trailer for the movie was actually really cool, and I remember it. It's like this little cam footage of the Mars rover. It hits onto Mars. Right, yeah. It hits onto Mars, and it's just going through, and you're thinking, "What's this movie? What is this?" And you hear these footsteps, these large mechanical footsteps walking through the red desert sand of Mars, and the camera turns, and it's blocked out by the light, and there's this blackout image of this mechanical figure, grabs the camera, and it boops, goes to black, and then I don't believe that they showed the original title for it, but the Autobot symbol of the Transformers popped up, and I remember seeing that when I was much younger, and it blew my mind.
And everybody was like, yes!
Yeah, I was just like, holy shit, we're getting a Transformers movie, and we had no idea what we were going to get. No, I know a lot of people out there aren't as happy about Transformers, at least the first movie, as they wanted to be. I believe it's in the 70% range on Rotten Tomatoes.
Overall, it's one of my favorites. I just kind of like it because it... I thought it was a good introduction to the series, or what they maybe planned to be a series. I thought it was a good introduction as this big blockbuster kind of movie. Yep. There were some parts that were kind of like, that's kind of stupid, or there's some like stupid little scenes. No. But I appreciate the parents in the movie. His mom and dad. They're pretty quirky and they're funny, and I think they're kind of redeeming characters. And I think Shia LaBeouf did a pretty damn good job in that role. I think it was good.
I definitely really liked Shia LaBeouf in the first 3 movies. I really do like him as an actor. I loved him. I did like him as the main protagonist in that movie.
I appreciated him much more than Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah. And as far as movies go in this series, the first one really is the most well-rounded. At times I have a tough time being able to watch it, mainly because the voice acting isn't as spot on, the CGI isn't as spot on as it progressed throughout the rest of the series.
And as you compare the 3... Yeah. The first one is kind of like, it's kind of boring. Like, there isn't as much like action going on because it's kind of slowly building into it. Yep. where like the third one is sort of insane.
Yeah.
You know, they're tearing like buildings down, like stuff is going crazy. So I mean, the first one's kind of slow in the sense that it isn't really action packed like we see later on in the series. But
but as far as movies go, that one is the most well rounded. That one is definitely really, really fun. It's an exciting movie. It really was back in 2007. It's a great one. If you get a chance to check that out, definitely do that. I would recommend that one.
And also Megan Fox. Megan Fox is in there. So,
Megan Fox is really overrated. Please don't.
But Megan Fox is in there, guys. So you know what we're looking at for that movie.
Yeah, Michael Bay and women in movies is not a good mix.
Ass. There's a lot of ass in these movies.
Yes, and titties.
Remember the sexual healing sequence in the first movie?
When I get
where she's fixing the car and she's just like, bam, ass. Midriff.
Yeah, the midriff. Oh yeah, the shot of the midriff, pan up to see her hot, sweaty breasts, her tan body.
And she works on the car with the wrench.
My dad was a real grease monkey back in the day, so I spent a lot of time.
Her dialogue is cringy.
And like she mentions carburetors and shit like that. Oh yeah, you don't even know what a fucking carburetor is.
You got like a fuel injected in, and like stop.
Okay, not to rip on Megan Fox that much. She has gotten a little bit better, especially with the.
I just think that whoever wrote her character was just like, it was just crazy.
They had some really bad writers on the first 4 movies. They really did. Roberto Orci was involved in the first two movies. I hate him, by the way. So was Aaron Kruger. I hate those two. Specifically Roberto Orci.
So like, it pretty much went the first one decent.
Yeah. And we have to wrap it up with the first one. We got to get on to the next one.
First one decent. Second one trash. Third one decent. Fourth one trash. It's kind of how it's going. So maybe the fifth one will be...
I feel different. I feel differently. I actually think the first one is good. I'm going to go ahead and give that movie an 8 out of 10.
I give it about an 8 too, yeah.
Yeah. And now let's talk about Revenge of the Fallen. Now this movie is garbage. And I remember seeing this movie in theaters, and I liked it when I saw it. And over the years, it's gotten trashier and trashier and trashier.
The Fallen character is just so... Like,
there's so many plot holes in this movie. I think it was How It Should Have Ended. That show here on YouTube actually made a video where they showed all the different plot holes in that movie, and it's just like, wait, if a Prime's the only one that can kill you, and I just killed him, technically that makes me stronger than you. So why the hell am I taking orders from you?
Yeah.
I was just like, holy shit! I can't believe it took fucking How It Should Have Ended for me to realize that.
They hyped up the Fallen.
They
hyped up the Fallen so much, like throughout the whole movie. They're just like, he's like the most powerful badass. Like, don't mess with him. And then like he's just like obliterated. Like his whole thing is destroyed in like 20 minutes. Like it. The way it ends
such a long sequence. Like the action sequences in the movie are definitely enjoyable. Less enjoyable in Egypt. I did not like the Egypt landscape that much. It felt dry as it looked. It just, I don't know.
That's the one thing is consistently throughout the movies is all the action sequences, the CGI. That's always spot on.
Here's one thing I got to talk about real quick. Talk about a Jar Jar Binks character with Leo Spitz. Now that actor, he came back to do a better role in what was it? Battle L.A. or whatever the hell that movie was, that weird Aaron Eckhart alien movie. He did a much better job in that movie.
Which one was Leo Spitz again?
He's the weird curly-haired guy.
Is he the government, really annoying, the government agent or
something? No. He's the weird college roommate dude.
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
How many times can you get tasted in the nuts before you can have kids? You know.
That dude did suck.
That character sucked really bad. Yeah. And I hated like screaming every 10 seconds, a lot of really bad dialogue from him. But I did appreciate John Turturro in that movie. I love John Turturro's character in all those movies.
He's the government agent, right?
Yeah, he's the government agent, dude.
He's always nailed his role. He's good. He's very good as that character.
He's good as that character. Now, it can be a hit and miss with some people out there when it comes to his character, but I definitely did like him. I enjoyed him more in this movie than I did in Transformers 1. In the first one, I did feel it was kind of annoying, and he was that government agent guy who's ruining all the shit for everybody.
I just love how he's a sarcastic dick the whole movie. I think it's very, it's entertaining. It's to kind of get away from this, like, look at, I'm a big bad government agent, and then I think it's the second or third movie, he's working in his mom.
Right. How would you rate this movie, Mitch?
Revenge of the Fallen.
Yep.
Like a 6 out of 10. I mean, like, I'm
fighting between a 4 and a 5 out of 10. I don't know. There's definitely some great action in the movie. There is some cool things in it, but there's, like, some shit on top of shit.
And then the whole love story between Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox's character is so, like forced and weird, and all the scenes are just very like they don't feel natural.
Yeah, they don't feel natural at all. They don't.
And so they're always trying to build up this whole like, oh look at, they love each other and they're going through all these hard times and can they stay, and it's just like it's not necessary.
This movie has some problems. If you're really curious, go ahead and check it out, but I wouldn't recommend it. Just skip that movie, because let's get on to Dark of the Moon, which basically totally just shits on the ones before it, except for the first movie. It acknowledges the first movie, but doesn't really acknowledge the second movie that much, except for one minor thing that pops up, and that's the Matrix of Leadership, which just popped back up again in Dark of the Moon. But Dark of the Moon is my favorite in the series, and I actually really love this movie. I love the narrative in it. I love the acting. I love the dialogue. They really figured it out with this movie, and the writers that were on the first two were gone, and it's just the writer, the third writer that were from the first two is doing this one solo, and he did the fourth one. The fourth one is trash, but I actually did really like what they did with the third movie. Now, the third movie, my favorite things about it is the soundtrack. It was
the most well crafted movie. Like the sequences were flowed nice through it. I mean, as we said before, Michael Bay nails action and he nails CG. He nails that every time.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole series of movies, he's never missed. Like, his action sequences are beautiful and perfect, and everything is just amazing to watch. That's something he always gets right. But then the thing that sometimes he misses is dialogue and just like there's sometimes just some stupid lines that you don't even need. They're just in the middle of an action scene, somebody will say something stupid, and I'm like, that just kind of pulled me right out of it. Like, why did you just have that pointless little sentence you just threw in there for no reason?
Yeah, and there is some dry humor throughout the movie. It definitely has more flaws than the first one, but I love it a lot more because even though it has some flaws in it, like it does have to acknowledge some plot holes that were developed from the first and second movie and how it affects the third movie and its plot. But it has a really cool plot that involves the Russians and the moon and the NASA project. It really is really fun, and seeing that Chicago battle sequence at the end of the movie was a lot better than that battle sequence in Egypt. Was really dry. It's
literally dry.
It was just a nonstop action sequence. And you didn't get any room to breathe. You didn't get any plot really in it. It was just, you got to get from point A to point B, and a lot of fucking action in between. It was nothing there. With the Chicago battle sequence, the Chicago battle act, really, because the third act of the movie is really more dedicated to Chicago and that sequence that goes on to there.
You watch it get destroyed.
You watch it get destroyed, but there's a lot of, there's reasons for why it gets destroyed, and what's going on, and why are they doing that and that sort of thing. So Michael Bay really was a lot smarter with directing that movie.
And it was good because it really built you up, like this feeling of desperate, like you're feeling very desperate because it's like, oh my God, what's going to happen is, you know, they're going to destroy it. Like, so it was, what's his face was on the
Sentinel Prime.
Sentinel Prime was on the Empire.
It wasn't the Empire State.
It was the Sears Tower. No, it was what was it?
No, it's I've seen this.
Damn it!
I've been to Chicago.
I've seen the building.
There's no particular name. Yeah, I have seen the building myself, but it's right across, I think, from Trump Tower. It's right across from Trump
and
Tower.
Also the House of Blues, right across from the House of Blues in Chicago. It's right down there.
Yeah.
And they're kind of on top of this building, and they have those.
The Coopers.
They have the weapon. They're ready to.
Yeah, they have the pillars, which are the pillars in this cinematic universe is what creates space bridges, which allows quick transport over long distances to be able to essentially what they were originally created for is to transport supplies and resources and refugees over long distances to help the Autobots out. Now, Sentinel Prime does. No, I'm not going to give this away. Not gonna give this away. Now, it has been 5 years since this movie came out, but I'm still not going to give anything away, because if you haven't seen it, check it out, which probably already has seen it because it's $1.5 billion movie.
It was a huge movie. Yep. But the one thing that, I know you don't mind it that much, it bothers me a little bit, especially when I was in the theater, is that there is some line stealing towards the end. They steal a line from Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Spock's great line at the end where he says, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. We hear that in the movie, and we also hear a line ripped straight from Highlander where he says, there can only be one. I mean, they're literally stolen word for word, not even altered or anything. And it bothered me a little bit. It's not like it's a huge deal, but it just sort of wow, they just literally stole that line right from the movie. Word for word, completely the same. And you mentioned earlier that it was the Leonard Nimoy line, or the that was kind of like in reverence to him, right? They're kind of just like, oh, look at
Leonard.
Yeah,
They've got Leonard. Now Leonard Nimoy already had some history with the Transformers series because he was already in a Transformers movie. The original animated Transformers movie from the 80s, he played Galvatron, which is the altered form of Megatron. And we see Galvatron in Transformers 4, and it has a very different history than what Galvatron was in the original animated series.
Yes.
But Leonard Nimoy had voiced the cinematic version of him, but didn't voice him in seasons 3 and 4 of the series. And they got Frank Welker, who did Megatron before, but he has a much whinier voice as Galvatron, which is very different than Leonard Nimoy.
Yes.
Because Leonard Nimoy has a very deep voice, and it wasn't as crass and very throaty, or I don't know.
It doesn't have that Leonard Nimoy. Like he had a very unique voice. It was very kind of throaty and deep, and it was just it's sort of like rich. I don't know if it would be the word, but this is not what we had in this movie. But
it sounds like Frank Welker has this kind of a voice that reminds me of he has a ripcord in his neck and he like rips it. And like that's what like a Beyblade sort of thing. I don't know why that reminds me of that, but it just sounds like very rippling.
Overall, though, it's enjoyable. Like it's something that if you have nothing better to do and you just want to go watch some crazy action and explosion porn, this Michael Bay does it again, and it's probably the best one in terms of being crafted. Everything works. It's an enjoyable movie. Yeah, it isn't very deep. It tries to be deep, but it never really gets there. But if you just wanted to go watch a popcorn flick, this does it, and that's to show because it almost made $2 billion. That's obviously people enjoyed it.
Yeah, it definitely was. Now I know that it's only within the 50% range on Rotten Tomatoes, and I understand that a lot of people didn't. A lot of the reason behind that is because of the errors and flaws that had to acknowledge because of the second movie, and some from the first movie, but I feel it is the best in the series. It definitely is a lot of fun. It's a really cool movie. Check it out.
If you're trying to decide which one to watch, and you're stuck between, you've already seen one, and you have to decide between 2 and 3, obviously go with 3, because 2 is
trash. It's trash.
Garbage. You will enjoy 3 more than 2, I can promise you that. Yeah. 3 is way better.
Yep, and I'm going to give this movie a 9 out of 10. I think I'd already given it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like I said, I really love this movie. I feel it's very underappreciated. So, yeah, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
I'm in probably the 8 out of 10. It's enjoyable. It's a fun movie. Mm-hmm. And, if you're not looking for this deep underlying metaphor in this movie, you're just kind of looking for something that like, oh my God, that's beautiful, or holy crap, that's insane what I just saw. Mm-hmm. And that nails it. This movie nails it every time. Mm-hmm. Now, move on to 4, which...
Age of Extinction. Now, this one is a fun one to talk about. I love talking about this one. Because this was the movie... Now, back when 1 through 3 came out, I was younger. And there was a 3-year gap between 3 and 4. So I had grown up a little bit by 3 years.
And I learned what to look for in movies at this point. Yeah. So I went into 4 and I knew what to pay attention to and how to critique it better. And my God, this movie, man, this movie...
There's a lot of
so many things wrong with it.
The reason why I feel Michael Bay did his best on 3 is because that was the movie where he was going to exit the series. Mm-hmm. He was supposed to leave after 3. Now he did say that he did want to do 3, but he didn't exactly want to do it at the time that he did do it because there was a 2-year gap between each movie. Mm-hmm. Now after he did 3, he said he wasn't going to do 4 at all.
And then they were like,
no, they said,
hey, okay, Mike,
yeah. Basically, they gave him a big bag of money. They said, hey, do 4. But Michael Bay said, okay, I'll do 4, but I want to do a movie before I do it. And so we made Pain and Gain. So Pain and Gain came out a year, I believe, or a year
about a year before.
Yeah. I believe it came out a year after he made 3, and then there was 2 years to make 4. Mm-hmm. So he had made Pain and Gain, which was... Now, a lot of people feel that Pain and Gain was a huge step up from doing the Transformers movies, but...
It's good.
I had heard other things, whatever. But 4 is the movie where it really feels like he was just tired of fucking doing them. And honestly, you can really see. Now, he had grown as a filmmaker in terms of how he was going to film it and all that. Like, he's good with shots. He's excellent with shots.
Yes.
Terrible with storytelling when it comes to 4.
I have to address it.
Yeah.
Because it bothers me. You know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So, Mark Wahlberg has a daughter in the movie.
Yep.
And she is 17, high schooler.
Yep.
But she has an old-ass, weird boyfriend, dude. Like, he's way older than her, and there's no reason for her to be 17 at all. She could be 18, and it would be fine.
Yeah, because...
He could be 17, and it could be fine.
Yeah.
But why does he have to be 17, or she have to be 17, and he have to be, like, 30? Like, it's weird.
I think a lot of the reasons they were trying to go for a dynamic that would like grow Mark Wahlberg's character, but it didn't work because
it's just weird.
It really is weird because they bring up a lot of shit where it's just like they have this weird conversation in the middle of the movie where it's just like Mark Wahlberg's just looking at the boyfriend. He's just like, "She's 17. I can have you arrested." And he's just like, he has this in his fucking wallet. The boyfriend pulls out his wallet. And he's just like, Texas statute, Romeo and Juliet laws.
Yeah, like
and I was just like
the whole.
We had a pre-existing relationship when I was 17,
and
blah 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 blah. So we can date, and it's protected.
It was like some weird thing where like I think Michael Bay has like some creepy young girlfriend, and he's just trying to like use the movie as a way to be like, hey, it's fine. There's statutes that let me do it. It was so unnecessary and weird, and that's like the thing that bothers me the most about the movie.
That probably is the thing that bothers me the most about the movie.
It's just unnecessary. It's just
cringy.
Stupid writing.
But it's not only that, but it's also the fact that the boyfriend and Nicola Peltz, who has a terrible reputation when it comes to film, she's a terrible actress. Terrible.
The only thing about her is that
unbearable in the movie.
The only thing that she's hot. That's it. That's the one thing about her
that's it. But she's not okay. But here's the thing: she's not as hot as the last two. Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, I thought, was actually really good in 3. She was good. She did a lot better job.
She was a step up from Megan
Fox.
Fox, yes.
Yeah, she definitely was.
And then this was a huge step down because she sucks. She's just terrible. The only thing that's good about her is that she's hot. I don't want to sound like a misogynist, but I mean I think that's the one thing that they were trying to use her like because she's a beautiful girl.
One of the reasons why she does have a career actually in acting is because she comes from actually a famous family. I think her father actually is a famous actor.
Yeah, I think
or like an entrepreneur or something like that. He does have a lot of money. He's famous.
I think they wanted to just put her on the poster and get all the 15 to 18-year-old guys to come and watch it. I mean, I don't want to. That's what it was because she isn't a very good actress. I mean, she just isn't very good.
Not. And I'm gonna be very blunt about that. She sucks.
Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg is always pretty good. Like he's never bad. I mean.
He always at least tries. Huh? He always at least tries to do something with any role that he has. He tries at least. Maybe not with The Happening, but
I don't.
He just try.
I still like Shia LaBeouf more. I just like Shia LaBeouf. I'm a big Shia LaBeouf fan.
Yeah.
I enjoyed him more overall. Like Mark Wahlberg's always good. I mean, he was fun to watch, but it seemed like he tried, but he didn't really seem invested in it. He seemed almost kind of like lazy.
And there's a lot of problems with this movie. There's this plot of this movie and the plot hole. It's not so to mention stupid.
Like T.J. Miller's in it, and he's not good in it.
No, I thought T.J. Miller was actually the best actor in the movie.
I mean, but
one of them.
His character was just kind of stupid, and he was just some weird like.
But he had the most humor.
Bum.
The most humor, the actual funny humor of the movie was when T.J. Miller's character was in the movie.
But it made him a stupid. Like he's better than the character they gave him.
But like,
you know what I mean? Like
not
you've seen
necessarily.
Deadpool. He's very good in Deadpool.
Well, yeah, but let's be honest. Like his character in Age of Extinction is still in line with that character.
He's just this dumb weird bum. He's just some weird bum that drives like a smart car. Does he drive a smart car? Right?
No, he drives like some old beater.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's just he's a weird character.
Some little junk trash thing.
Again, Transformers are cool. Like the robots are cool.
Yeah, the CGI is the best in the movie. It really
amazing.
It's the most stellar.
It's a star-studded cast too. John Goodman's in it. I mean,
Ken Watanabe voices a Transformer. He voices Drift. John DiMaggio voices one. Obviously, the great Peter Cullen, who has done Optimus Prime since the '80s. He's in it.
And he's good as ever.
Stanley Tucci now plays the most fucking annoying character I've ever seen. Besides, now, if you thought that Leo Spitz was bad in Revenge of the Fall, Jesus Christ. Stanley Tucci. Like, Stanley Tucci is a fucking good actor. I'm pretty sure he has like Oscar noms.
He was just cringy in this movie.
What
it was hard to watch.
That? I don't even know. I don't even know what they were going with, what he was doing.
There's Lockdown is
who is supposed to be the main villain of the movie. Now it is split.
Is cool.
There are two main villains in the movie, but it really does show that Lockdown is the main villain. But they do introduce one. Now, talking about Galvatron, which Galvatron has some really cool history. He's supposed to be essentially when it came to G1, which G1 is actually what Generation 1, which is what the original Transformers series was, and I believe like animated series from the 80s and the comic books.
It's awesome.
Now, Galvatron and his army was supposed to be the Apple of Transformers. They were created. They were the way that they were created was supposed to be the best, the most powerful. They had the most sleek designs. Now, Galvatron does
He looks cool in this movie.
He looks in line with that sort of look, but he is very jaggedy in a sort of way.
Yes. And also, he's a whiny bitch in this movie.
He is whiny. He's very whiny. I don't understand the difference in the dialogue. Now, Hugo Weaving as Megatron. Now, Hugo Weaving decided to leave. He didn't want to do movies, do these movies anymore. He actually even called them trash himself. I'm not joking. He was
not a fan.
he was not a fan of them. But I loved Hugo Weaving as Megatron. Mm-hmm. Megatron was fucking sweet in those movies.
Did a damn good job. Yeah. Like, he was, but then they get Galvatron, he's a badass. That's a badass.
Like, he does have some badass scenes, but he's got whiny dialogue. Yeah. And Frank Welker came back to do this role. Now, he had done Megatron a long time ago, and he did Galvatron in the season 3 and 4 of Transformers, the original series, the animated series, whatever. But he did not work as this character. He does after going from Hugo Weaving to Frank Welker, it doesn't work because the voice doesn't sound the same.
It doesn't.
It doesn't at all.
You can hear it. It's a stark difference.
And that line at the end of the movie,
we were just watching earlier today.
It's impossible. They're ruining everything.
Yeah, he's just like, he looks right at camera too. Like,
yeah, it's really bad. It's really, really bad. And it's like, why?
And I mean, there's an infamous product placement scene. I don't know if I want to give it away if you haven't seen it.
No, let's talk about it.
Who
gives a shit? They're not gonna fucking watch Age of Extinction. We're not even talking about like the main point of this movie, but we'll get onto it in just a minute. But like,
this is so bad.
It's the infamous Bud Light product placement scene. And so there's a sequence in the movie where Optimus Prime is battling Galvatron. It's the first battle of the movie where you see Galvatron, and Optimus Prime discovers that, oh wait, this human-made robot is sentient, whatever. So they have the big battle sequence, and Lockdown comes out of nowhere, shoots Optimus Prime with his big fucking gun face.
Basically, a giant gun that comes out of his face. Yeah. It's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
He just like destroys things.
Yeah, and Optimus Prime basically gets like paralyzed or something like that. He's too weak to walk, and like he gets captured, and the daughter gets captured along with him, and they get onto Lockdown's big massive fucking ship. And all the other Autobots and Mark Wahlberg and dumb boyfriend have to go and save her ass and save Optimus Prime. So they're on the ship and they're trying to escape. They save everybody and whatever. And so they go on to a Transformers gunship with Bumblebee and whatever. And they're flying this shit around, and they crash eventually, and they crash into a fucking semi that's filled with fucking Bud Light.
And not to mention, so like the ship's crashing, and you see a semi truck come into frame, and you just see Bud Light, and then they hit it.
They hit it, and then they crash into a car, and so they get out of the car, and this guy who's sitting in the car they crashed into gets out, and he's just like, "Hey, I hope you have fucking insurance on this thing.
Yeah,
I hope you have insurance. I hope you're paying for that. Who's gonna pay for that? Whatever." And Mark Wahlberg is just like, "Hey, what? A fucking spaceship? Do you think they sell insurance on a goddamn spaceship?"
And then he picks up like he's like such a badass. Picks up a Bud Light, swigs it, and not to mention faces it to the camera so you see Bud Light, takes a swig. And then he's just like, "Where's my alien gun?" or something dumb because there's this big alien gun.
And so he takes it, and before he picks it up off the ground, he's just like, he takes it, cracks it open on the car, takes a swig of it. He's just like, "Honey, get me my alien gun so I can fucking shoot this guy."
Yeah, because I drink Bud Light. Only badasses drink Bud Light. Yeah, like it was just so like, why? It was so dumb and contrived.
But the shot that really was stupid was when they pan down, and he's just like, they pan up to him, and he's just like, he looks down, he sees all the Bud Light, and they pan down, Bud Light everywhere, Bud Light, Bud Light, Bud Light. And it's just like, it's all over the place. It's so stupid because in the other Transformers movies, they had Victoria's Secret ones. And I think they had Mountain Dew in the first one, but they were very subtle.
This one was blatantly obvious. And I like to think that this was like a Michael Bay fuck you. Like, I don't want to do this movie, so guess what? I'm going to do this really stupid. And also, it's famous. It's an infamous scene. Like, people will always remember it and always talk about it when they think of the Transformers series. People always think Bud Light product placement. So, I mean, it may be dumb. I mean, it may be dumb, but
stupid.
You're going to have that in your mind.
Yeah,
and
it's bad. It's bad.
Again, this movie, like we said before, action, great. CGI, great. It's beautiful. It's very cool. There's a part where Optimus Prime's riding a robotic dinosaur. I mean, it's very cool.
And the thing I have to say, though, is that this movie, I think, I can't choose between Dark of the Moon or Age of Extinction, which one had the better marketing. But this movie had phenomenal marketing. Like, the movie looked fucking badass. It looked like it was going to be fantastic. We go in to see the movie. And oh my god, it is trash. The aspect ratios are all over the place.
I can't stress enough. Maybe they fixed it for DVD. Did they fix it on DVD release, or is it the same?
No, it's still the fucking same.
Oh my god, it's
because he hasn't seen it since he went to go see it in theaters. I don't think.
No, it's hard to watch. It's on. You get used to it, but it's so annoying at the start because it isn't like it's a subtle change. It's a drastic change in aspect ratio. They're not even close to the same.
Yeah,
and
that's because they were using two different cameras. They were using a regular film camera and an IMAX camera, and they cut between the two, and it's like, what the fuck?
And like you said, they're doing it again. He's using an 8K camera and an IMAX camera.
The red 8K helium and an IMAX camera. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that they can't fix their aspect ratio. Hopefully, they actually pay attention to that.
I don't know if they just missed it or they were just like, whatever, who cares?
Or maybe, I hope it's not a situation where they couldn't fix it.
I think maybe to the average person, you wouldn't notice it as well, but it's the first thing I noticed, and I couldn't. Yeah. It's hard to get past it. I almost couldn't watch the movie. And oh my god, this movie pisses me off.
Yeah, it really is. No,
it's like it's awesome and cool to watch, but it's also at the same time kind of like lazy. It's so weird. I can't.
Now the biggest thing about the movie, why it's named Age of Extinction, is because it has Dinobots in the movie. Dinobots.
Yeah, dinosaur robots.
They look like fucking dragons. They look like dinosaurs. They're mechanical dinosaurs that look like mechanical dragons that look like dinosaurs or whatever.
It
looks stupid. It's cool. The battle sequence at the end of the movie is a much better version of what was in Revenge of the Fallen, where it's just like endless action and whatever, but it's sweet action. It's really cool.
And also
but no breathing room.
John Goodman's character is
he had a really
incredibly cool. He plays like a dwarf type character, like something from like Lord of the Rings or something. He has like a big like mechanical beard, and he's sort of like short and tubby. And
he's like reminiscent of a Vietnam War vet.
Yeah,
is what I got from it.
Is that what you get? Yeah.
Oh, there's so much. One of the things I really hate about this movie is the Autobots are so unrelatable and so unlikable. Even Optimus Prime in this movie, I did not like as much as I liked in the other movies. He's an asshole. Like, everybody in this movie are just assholes. They're mean. They're like, fuck these humans. We're leaving.
Yeah,
like,
screw you.
And like, they're just like talking back and forth between each other. Like, fuck you. Blah, 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 blah. You guys suck. I'm taking over. I'm leaving. Screw you guys. Like, you humans suck. And whatever. You screw things over. You got us killed. Like, they're all assholes. Even Optimus Prime. Asshole. Bumblebee. Asshole.
Like, all the dialogue from them is very whiny. Everybody's whining and complaining the whole time. They're like, no, we can't do it. Everything's been ruined. It's just like, shut up. Oh, my God. It's...
Okay, so we talked about this movie enough, so let's go ahead and give this movie a rating.
Oh, my God. 5 out of 10.
I'll give it a 3. I'll give it a 3 out of 10. There are some stuff that I like in it. They give it a 3.
The reason I can give it a 5 is just because, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I mean, he never misses action and he never misses CGI. Yeah. Like, it's always well done.
With me, story matters. So
yeah. It doesn't have any story at all. There's like no...
There's story, but it's shit.
It's not even really discernible. Like, there isn't... I'm like, oh, what?
It's very incoherent story.
It's dumb.
It's stupid story.
Again, it's another popcorn flick, but it's not as good as 3. It's nowhere near as good as 3. It's not even close.
Yeah.
If you want to watch something and just sort of mindlessly look at a screen and not really pay attention to anything, 3 is the best because it's just constant explosions and awesomeness. I mean,
well, it's got a good story as well.
Overall, the whole series though,
it's hit or miss. It's like 1's good, 2's bad, 3's great, 4's shit,
5 is good.
5 isn't out yet,
but maybe 5 will be good if it follows. I don't understand.
I think it has a chance because Stephen DeKnight is actually working on the movie now. Stephen DeKnight has been working on the Daredevil series. Mm-hmm. I think he's the showrunner of that, or he's like the writer.
That's so cool.
They had a writing room actually put together for 5, so they kicked out the writer that had done on the first 2.
So they're trying to redeem it.
So they had a writer's room actually put together for like 6 months, planning out the rest of the series, like 6 through 7, and plus some spinoffs. And so there is some chance to be saved. Now, there are some things about it that I'm a little skeptical about, and that being the fact that this one's taken a fantasy turn, and fantasy is actually in it, and it's weird. Merlin and King Arthur are in it and all that. But hopefully that one's going to be great. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this first episode of our new series.
The idea of the series, we're talking about these giant blockbuster films that, wow, this whole series made like $4 billion. Should it have? No, it shouldn't. And I think really the reason why it's doing that is because there's all this hype around it, and it's sort of just like...
Here's how I feel. 1 deserved it, 2 didn't, 3 deserved it, 4 go to a fucking garbage.
That should have busted. Oh my god, it made $1 billion? No way. It shouldn't have made anywhere near that. Yeah. It's sort of this thing where it's appealing to most people because it doesn't... It's
mindless action. You can just clock out.
You can just my god, whoa!
Check your brain at the door. Whoa. Check your brain at the door.
Don't go... You don't go in expecting like, wow, this is gonna be riveting and change my life. It's more just like, oh my god, whoa!
That
Did you
would
see
be
how big that
would be
explosion
phenomenal.
was?
That would be phenomenal if we get to that day where a Transformers movie just like, holy shit, that changed my
Oh my
life.
god, so deep. This is not it.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys for watching our first episode of our new series.
I hope you
talking about
guys.
movies.
I hope you
Don't
enjoy
deserve
it.
money.
Hope you enjoy the new series. We're gonna try it out. Hopefully, do a couple more. We were talking about Avatar, which is
That movie
is a mind fuck.
That's
No,
Pocahontas plus CGI.
It's Avatar was our next idea, or
Titanic.
Titanic too, but that's just because every woman liked to look at Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh look, it got a fucking alarm.
How dare you? Anyway, this has been Mitch here with Be For Great Studios. Matt's walking off camera. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Check out all our content. We got our movie out. We have a new Underappreciated coming out, and we're going to continue the series. Thanks for watching, guys.